So generally speaking, the drive for muscularity comes with a lot of rigidity, right?
Structural lifestyle.
Yeah. So like, and there was this hilarious like kind of Twitter war where
polymers.
Maybe
where he lost weight.
Yeah.
And so William Costello was the guy that put that poll up.
Oh, yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So
I wanted to get into this. I'm so glad you brought this.
Yeah. So I did a whole piece about it. Someone showed me that and I was like, this is fascinating.
You know who else was just to add this in?
Yeah.
Did you see Sacha Baron Cohen's personal transformation?
No.
You know Borat?
Yeah.
He is the lead star in a superhero movie.
Okay.
He also was recently divorced. And he went for, you remember what he looked like in that ridiculous thing in Borat? And he like whatever that, I don't even know what that physique is. It's not even dad bod, right?
Yeah, no.
And now he's got, like visible 4-pack abs. He's got like, I think he's 50. For a 50-year-old dude, looks fucking fantastic. A little bit stringy, but like lean. He's got the bicep vein coming through. Women online, but there was this very famous article that was like, Sacha Baron Cohen doesn't realize just how disgusting he looks to most women. Same thing as the Ollie Murs situation. And I became fascinated by failure of cross-sex mind reading. Guys find that intimidating and something worthy of admiration and respect. And they assume if I admire it, respect it, and understand how hard it is to get, women have to be attracted to it. And it's just a massive failure of cross-sex mind reading.
Absolutely. So I think this is where we have to be a little bit tricky because there is a lot of evolutionary biology at play, but human beings tend to be really complex. So take this with a big grain of salt. I think as a psychiatrist, I found you can say something about men. There has been at least any statement you want to make about men are ... Yep. There's been at least one man in my office who does not fit that mold. Anything you want to say about women, there's been at least one woman in my office who does not fit that mold. So I think this is where there's like a bell curve, right? But there are also averages. So we can extrapolate average data about genders. So the first thing is that there is this sense of intra-sex competition. So men tend to rate themselves against other men, right? And this is what's really interesting is, so sometimes I have all kinds of, I have access to some very interesting information. I love being a psychiatrist because I'll talk to men and women about their sexual lives, like what's it like, and not like in a pervy kind of way. It's like, okay, someone comes in and you're not happy. What would make you like perfectly happy? Right? Or they solve their depression and they come in, they're like, well, there's one last thing and it's kind of embarrassing, but I really want my husband to put this thing in this place. And so, and it's okay, let's talk about that. Like, let's not be shameful or judgmental. How can we have this kind of conversation? How can we help you be happy? So I think if you look at like the first thing is a lot of dudes will like have certain metrics, right? And I think we see this a lot in the alpha male kind of stuff. And it's like, oh, men, women prefer high value men. And if you got to make money, like there's one really simple bit of general data that you can do against that. It's kind of creepy, but you got to be a little bit careful. Just go to a playground that there are dads with their kids and look at the dads. Look at who's actually mating. Look at who's actually reproducing. Most dads are not high value men. Like the majority of
jacked, rich, 6'6".
Absolutely. Right. So most people who reproduce are average height, average money, average body. Right here in the US, like 40% of dads are going to be obese. And so that's really what people are selecting for. And if you look at like, the female response, like there are a couple of questions that you can ask for really ripped dudes. And this is where things get really interesting. If you see a really, really ripped dude and a dude who's
moderately in shape, who do you think makes more money?
The dude that is just in shape and not really ripped because he's not spending as much time dedicating himself
Absolutely,
to diet
right?
and training.
So personal trainers are going to be super ripped, but someone who's like a medical doctor who goes to the gym 3 days a week and works out for an hour is going to be like sort of in shape. I think, so if you look at research on women, what they'll say is they want to feel safe. So are you more likely to be safe with a guy who is really, really ripped? Or someone who is not really ripped, so someone who's very rigid, who's going to be more likely to judge your food choices, right? So there are all these questions that you're right that there's a failure of understanding, like what is in women's minds. And I think the main reason that we have that is because what we see in these echo chambers is men don't talk to women and women don't talk to men.
And men use their interpretation of intimidation as a proxy for women's level of attraction. So this is an interesting one. Do you know the David Putz study that was done on this?
I'm not sure about the reference, but
Maybe. It's very famous and fucking fascinating. So men and women were brought into the lab. They were shown photos of men.
oh yeah, I know the study.
The men were asked, how likely do you think it is that you would be able to beat this man in a fight? The women were asked, how attracted are you to these men? And they rank ordered each of these. They brought the men that the photos were of back into the lab 1 year later, and they asked them how many sexual partners they'd had over the last 12 months. The female ratings of attractiveness basically had 0 predictive power, and the male ratings of intimidation were almost exact.
I don't know I don't know this study, but there's a really fascinating study where they took faces and then altered them to increase the muscularity and adjust the muscularity up or down and the adiposity up or down. And I think basically what the study found is that as you become more muscular, women become less interested in you. And so they start to see you more as a threat. I'm maybe a little bit rusty on the precise outcome there. But basically, like, it's really interesting because now you can, it's a very good experimental condition because it's the same face. And all we're doing is controlling for muscularity or adiposity. And adiposity means fat. But adiposity doesn't seem to affect anything, but muscularity, the more muscular the face becomes, the more women are fine with a short-term relationship, but are not interested in a long-term relationship.